inside. Maybe we are modeling that.
Okay. Anyone else?
So visualizing the pressure distribution in a material.
Good.
Like I did that presentation on bulletproof jackets. When the bullet
Not
impacted
that complicated. No, we will not do that.
Okay.
Bulletproof hitting a bullet is a dynamic simulation. But fine, if some of you are interested, we can speak about that also. So basically, as I said yesterday, if it is possible for some of you, you can switch on the video because human interaction is good when there are some faces. If you have network issues, you don't have to do it. So what we said yesterday, Prince is also a part of this lab, is that we will be describing modeling and simulation of some of the problems in metallurgy. So we are dividing it into two parts, structural mechanics, so mechanical metallurgy part and process metallurgy part. So when it comes to, let's say, molten steel modeling and how heat flows from that, or for example, you want to model welding. So there, fluid dynamics will come. Real problems are a combination of a lot of things. और अपना human tendency क्या है कि हम लोग जो है वो we try to divide things, make it simple, and that is also a modeling. That instead of solving the problem by taking all the details of the reality in the system, you may not actually achieve at any solution. So what you want to do is you want to ignore those details which are not required or which are not probably affecting the solution. So if you are trying to, let's say, model welding, for instance, or if you are trying to model a free fall of a ball on the ground, what properties or what information do you think you will take into account in order to predict, let's say, in order to predict what will happen to the total energy of the ball? So you're throwing it, you're simply leaving it at a certain height, and then of course it will fall. So you want to know that how much energy will be there when it hits the ground. So how will you do it? This is a very simple thing, right? So Dhyanendra, how will you approach towards it? Dhyanendra, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Batao, jaldi batao.
Can you repeat, sir?
Come again?
Can you repeat, sir?
So you are sleeping or what?
No, sir. I just joined recently.
Okay. So there is a ball and we have lifted it to a certain height. Okay. Arbitrary
Yes, sir.
height. And then you are leaving the ball. So ball will fall on the ground, right? I hope that is
Yes.
what will happen. Okay. So it will fall on the ground. Now I want to know what will be the energy when it hits the ground. So what information will you take into account in order to calculate that?
So certainly the height we should know to calculate the
Okay.
energy
Okay. And
and the gravitational force, the gravity, acceleration due to gravity.
okay. And
So this is all we can calculate
That's it.
the energy. Yes, sir.
that's it. You will not require the mass of the ball.
Oh, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mass. Of course, the mass.
Okay.
Sir.
So if you really want to model this, then what you can do is you can take how many number of atoms will be there in the system. Gaurav, you have Kushag's number, no?
Yes, sir.
Just send him a message on WhatsApp.
Okay. I have actually sent a message to Avnish, sir. I'll send to him.
Avnish probably has some issue with the WhatsApp. So and his phone is also not working.
Okay. I'll message Kushagra, sir.
Okay. So first question is that the ball is spherical or not? Is anything spherical? So it depends on what scale you're taking, right? So if you take it to a nanoscale, let's say, so things will not be spherical and you will have a lot of roughness there. There is actually an experiment going on where people are trying to make a complete sphere to find out the gravitational waves, how that influences the... So first of all, they want to know if the gravitational waves can be field. And in order to do that, they are making a complete sphere. And that is a big job. So if you want to model this free fall of a wall, then what you can do is you can take how many number of atoms are there, what is the real shape of this sphere, what is the real energy of the system before it has started falling. So what is the energy? How will you calculate? You will have to take into account the vibrational energy of each atom, multiply that by the total number of atoms, then the interaction of atoms neighboring it. So you need to know if the ball is made up of a crystalline material or a non-crystalline material, how many number of defects are there, how much is the porosity in the system, what is the air friction when it falls, because air friction will be opposing the gravitation. When it hits the ground, it will increase its energy, right? Because now atoms are in motion. When it hits the ground, it will lose the energy. Where it will lose the energy? The energy will go by vibration to the ground, and that energy will be lost, right? So if you take all these things into account, it will be impossible to calculate how much energy will be lost and how much energy will be there when the ball hits the ground. So what you can do is you can ignore those energy aspects which will be contributing in a very, very small scales. So if, for instance, you are losing the ball from 1,000-meter height, then the energy which will be lost in terms of heat, in terms of vibration when it hits the ground, will be negligible in comparison to the energy which will be left in the ball to bounce back, right? So then you don't want to take all those marginally, significantly small contributions of energy coming from different aspects. Also air friction you can ignore. Also change in gravity people ignore. So you don't actually measure the acceleration due to gravity at different altitude of the planet, and you don't do that. You make it as simple as possible. But then there is this thing that you also do not want to make it very, very simple. So if you ignore, for instance, the mass as Dhyanendra did, then you cannot calculate. But if you assume something which is so simple that it loses the reality, then there is a problem. So you have to be only that much real, which doesn't complicate your problem, and you get your answer. Okay? So you have to look at the eye of the fish and hit the arrow. It is like that. But we will start with a big fish who has a big eye, and then we will try to decrease the diameter of the eye of the fish, and then we will see how much accurate we can go. Let us see what happens in this. So the theoretical part of how we model things will be, of course, discussed in the theory course. In the lab course, we will try to introduce some commercial softwares. I have sent you a link of a software, Abacus. I hope all of you have received it, right? Ariman?
Yes, sir, we have received it.
Okay, so please install it before Monday. Not necessarily we will do something on that software on Monday, but it will be good if you can install it, because there might be some problem some of you might face in installing it.
There are a lot of files there. It's kind of confusing which to.
Yeah. So the course evaluation criteria will be shared to you by Dr. Prince. And we decided that we will give you two mathematical problems. And you will be required to present the solution of those two problems at the end of the course. And we decided to do it in the theory part, but now we are dividing it in, so one problem will be in lab, one problem will be in the theory. But the background of the problem I will discuss in the theory course. So in order to give you an advantage, probably in the next lab class, I will tell you the problem, what problem you have to solve. I will also tell you only a very simple and brief background of the problem, and then you can start thinking about it. And when I start the theory course, then I will also describe a little bit of more detail on the problem so that you can try to solve it in a better way. But you will have advantage to think about this problem throughout the whole course, not only half course, but that you can decide. So if you can manage in the half part of the course, that is also well and fine by me. So there will be 20% marks on this problem solving in the lab also. Rest of the criteria will be shared with you by Dr. Prince. All right. And I imagine that in this course, we'll try to be interactive as much as possible. So, modeling and simulation course. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
So you were going to tell me downloading the file and then your phone rang.
Yeah, downloading the file, I will explain. Do you have contact of Sukhwinder, who works in the CAD lab, mechanical department?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, I'll share his contact.
Okay.
There should be a text file which will tell you how to do it, but I will also have a discussion on how to do it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So this is the conjugate part of the theory course. And in this, we are dividing again in structural and process metallurgy part. So process metallurgy part is starting in the course theory part. And here we will start with the structural modeling. So initially, I will have to introduce the basics of what goes on in a commercial software. And don't look at the details of what is going on. I will give you the glimpse of it, what is happening behind the black box, and how it is solving. That is more important in terms of understanding how it is. So let us take an example. So what we are going to do is we are going to model a tensile specimen. You have the big background of tensile testing from the MM302 course, right? So you know all about what stress strain diagram is, and probably you have an idea how do you conduct the test, what kind of sample is there, what properties do you measure before doing the test, and what do you expect from the test, right? But then there are things which you cannot measure from the experiment, but you can do it from the simulation. So that's the advantage of simulation. First is you don't need to buy the material. You don't really have to have the material. If you know the properties, what really happens in research is that you create the material. If you're, for example, making a new alloy. So you don't make a new alloy in bulk. You make it in a very small scale, right? For example, you're making amorphous material by melt spin process. So what you do is you drop a small molten liquid, and then there is a wheel which is rotating with a very high velocity. And as soon as this drop falls into it, it spreads because of the rotation, and there is enough surface area available. So it flattens there with a very thin film forms. And this process takes the heat away so fast that it can reach to a solidification rate of, or a cooling rate of 10 to the power 6 degrees per second. So 10 to the power 6 Kelvin per second. And if that happens, a metallic material will not be able to form a crystalline formation. So the atoms will not get time to put themselves in the location which is energetically favorable for crystalline formation. So what will happen? The result will be an amorphous material. But so in this process, you cannot make things in bulk. So you make a very small piece of the material, and you want to know what is the tensile property of it. So how will you do it? So if you know the Young's modulus, and if you can do by some indirect means, can get the yield strength how will you get the yield strength? That is a different question without doing tensile testing. How will you get the Young's modulus? How do you measure the Young's modulus? You have any idea? Okay, so think about it. Try to find out how do you measure Young's modulus, and is there a way of finding yield strength without doing the tensile testing? So let us say we have those data, and then we want to know that how the strain distribution is in a 5 mm thick specimen in comparison to a 25 mm thick specimen. Will it be same or not? So that you can do by simulating it. You can also simulate how the material will fail, but for that you will need the information which is required for simulating the damage, and that we will also do in the second module. We'll try to do. So we'll start with elastic modeling, then we will switch to plastic modeling, and then we will switch to damage modeling. This is what we hope to achieve in this course. And then starts what Dr. Prince will be doing. So this is the part where process metallurgy will take place, and also a little bit of physical modeling, mathematical modeling. So this is what we will do in the course. I'll share the course details with you. And here I will give you just a small example of how do you do it. So just a minute. Okay, so this is your first assignment. Take it as your first assignment, and give me the solution by next Friday. But we will discuss the solution on Monday also. Okay, so what you have to, what you see here is a tapered bar, and this bar is made up of a metallic material with an elastic modulus of 200 gigapascal. You are applying a force here, right? And area is changing from, so this end, the area is 7 times of what you have on the other end where the force is applied. The total length is LT, and this end of this bar is fixed. So what you have to calculate is that how much force you will have to apply if the yield strength of the material is 300 megapascal. Okay, so that figure is not written here. You can note it down. The yield strength of the material is 300 megapascals. How much force you will have to apply so that it yields, and you will have to tell me that where exactly, exact location, where exactly the material will start yielding first. Okay.
Sir, please repeat it once again.
Okay. So you see this figure here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why this selected pen? So this is a bar, right? And this is you don't have to worry about the shape of it. It can be cylindrical, it can be rectangular, doesn't matter, because area is given to you. Okay. So area here at this end is A, and here it is 7 times of what you have there, so 7A. This end of the bar is fixed with the wall, and the rest is not fixed. Ignore the effect of gravity. Okay. You have to apply a force here. The yield strength of this material is 300 megapascal. Okay. you have to tell me that at which exact location of this bar the material will start yielding first. Okay? And the second part of it is that you have to probably plot how the displacement in this material will vary with the location, right? So if you take this axis along the axis of this bar to be x, then you have to tell me what will be the variation of displacement with respect to the distance from this wall, right? So u versus x you have to tell, right? So this you can do by next Friday. And the solution, half of the solution we will discuss in the next lab class, and half we will discuss on Friday.
displacement वाला part.
क्या displacement वाला part क्या?
जो आपने बोली.
Displacement versus x, right? So the coordinate system. So at here, let's say 0.5 mm from the wall, what is the displacement? 0.1 mm from the wall, what is the displacement? 2 mm from the wall, what is the displacement? And so on, right? So you can normalize LT. So you can say 0.1 LT, this is the displacement, 0.2 LT, that is the displacement. So you have displacement values, you have the x coordinate value, and plot these two.
Sir, what is the value of P?
P, you can apply 10,000 Newton. And 10,000 Newton is for 10,000 Newton is for displacement only. In order to solve where it will yield first, there you have to calculate. So let me say it again. So one of the question in the problem is that how much force you have to apply so that the material will start yielding, right? And the yield stress of the material is 300 megapascal. Okay, this is the first part. Second part is that where exactly will the material start yielding first? And third part of the problem is if you apply a force of 10,000 Newton, then how much will be so what will be the distribution of displacement versus x, u versus x, right? And in this third part, you can ignore yielding. So when you apply a load of 10 Newton on the material, assume that even if it crosses yield strength, so forget about yield strength. Imagine this bar to be completely elastic only for the third part of the question, right? So in order to plot u versus x for an applied force of 10 Newton, imagine that this material will be deforming only linear elastically. Any question?
Sir, 10 Newton.
Okay. So not 10 Newton, 10,000 Newton. If I said 10 Newton, that was a mistake. It is 10,000 Newton. Okay. So let us begin with this. And the solution which you will be providing will be completely mathematical or analytical. That is what we call it, right? So we are not using any numerical approach or any software or any indirect method of solving it. So let us start with a simple mathematical problem. All right, let us look at the software. Where is it? I think this one is. Okay. So I have to share it. And what we will do is we will also try to have two computers ready in the lab for you guys to have access, and you can access it using any desk, right? If you can install the software on your laptop, you will get more time to use the software. But software is not an important part. If you want, you can do it. So you can access the software using AnyDesk remote handling software on 2 computers in the lab where this software is already installed, and you can try solving the problem there. But so for that, you will have to divide yourselves into 2 groups. Gaurav can do it, Kushagra can note it down. So you have to distribute it. So 2 computers, you can divide yourself into 6 and 6, and 3 and 3 can manage on 1 computer and distribute the time accordingly. Okay. So I think this is the file which is shared with you. And what is written here? There are 2 readmes. Okay. What is the other readme says? On Windows, you can install from remote DVD-ROM, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. Okay. So in my opinion, what you have to do is you have to install first the licensing of the software. So let us open this. So I will have to download it. देखते कितना टाइम लगता है. So if I run this setup file, what happens?
Sir,
Nothing happened.
I think readme में dependencies लिखी हुई हैं. DSLS और licensing के लिए. DSLS common and Win8664.
क्या? So Abacus product and licensing requires the directory and files below on the licensing and product DVD. DVD is the drive letter or mount this Abacus installation DVD description of the. So what does it mean? I have to download everything and I have to mount it.
Sir, I haven't installed it, but I think it is saying.
You have installed it?
Not, sir. I'm having some problems with licensing.
अपने पास जितना भी अपने पास time है. Let us see if it can be done. I think it will take a lot of time or what? Prepare and download.
Sir, what time?
बहुत time लगेगा?
Yes, sir. 2-3 GB.
Oh.
So maybe we can ask Sukhwinder Singh sir to, take a session for 10-15 minutes wherein he tells us.
That we can do. So we will do it on Monday, and I will ask him to be there and explain you. So Sukhwinder. Okay, all right. But it is getting downloaded now.
सर जिप के बाद डाउनलोड भी सर वो तो स्पीड पे डिपेंड करता है.
हाँ अभी आधा से ज्यादा होकर रुक गया है. नहीं अभी हो गया. I will have to extract. ये अभी प्रिपेयर कर रहा है कि डाउनलोड हो रहा है.
सर जिप करके फिर डाउनलोड स्टार्ट करेगा.
हे भगवान. ठीक है. So we will do it on Monday. So do you have any question for now?
सर इंस्टॉलेशन से रिलेटेड कि
नहीं ऐसे सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड, प्रॉब्लम से रिलेटेड. Software से related we will see on Monday. No questions? So I will create a Google Classroom link, and I will ask Dr. Prince to share the course evaluation scheme for this course, and rest of the things are clear to you. If not, you can ask. So, yeah, yes, Bala?
Sir, can we install the software in MacBook operating system?
तुमने MacBook खरीद लिया है? I don't think so. I don't think so. I have seen versions of Abacus only for Linux and Windows, not seen it for macOS.
Okay, sir.
So can you arrange any Windows working device?
No, sir. I try installing Windows in MacBook, sir.
Acha, you have Windows also?
No, sir. I have to install, sir. That will take time.
Yeah. Do it. See, on Monday, we are not going to do anything on the software, but you should be ready.
Yes, sir.
So next time, so on Monday not, but after that we will switch on this platform.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है. और किसी के पास MacBook है? If you have, try installing either Linux or Windows. It doesn't. So Linux, Windows, it doesn't matter. Once you have installed the software, I do not know if the setup file is only for Windows. ठीक है. All right then. So Naga, you have any question? Are you there? Naga left the meeting. Okay. So Ishika?
Yes, sir.
You are getting the zest of this course?
Yes,
now can
sir.
you tell me what it is?
Yes, sir. I can tell now. A modeling problem, like the one you told me. I can't, like, modeling problems.
Modeling problems? What kind of problems?
So, like tension. Yes, sir. Tension. The one you told us right now.
So you have learned this kinetic theory of gases, right, in your 11th and 12th?
Yes, sir.
So that is also a modeling. That is also mathematical modeling. Pressure कैसे create होता है, Boyle's law, Charles' law, all these things are mathematical models of the reality. और उसका application किधर है? PV is equal to nRT, yeah, related to that equation. Do you know of, are you aware of any application of that? बोलो सूरज.
सर हाइड्रोलिक्स में.
हाइड्रोलिक्स में क्या करते हैं उससे? PV nRT यूज करके?
लाइक
प्रेशर बढ़ाते हैं, ऐसा करते हैं क्या उसमें?
नहीं सर, प्रेशर इंक्रीज करते हैं. तो लाइक एक ऐसा एग्जांपल था, मतलब उसमें कि प्रेशर
डेलिबरेट नहीं है. हाइड्रोलिक में इफ यू इंक्रीज द प्रेशर द टेम्परेचर विल इंक्रीज, बट दैट इज नॉट व्हाट वी नीड. दैट हैपेंस बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लॉ. इसका यूज करते हैं कूलिंग डाउन में.
सर
आफ्टर सर्टेन पॉइंट हाउ डू यू कूल समथिंग?
सर एयर कंडीशनर में, मतलब अगर
एयर कंडीशनर में करते हैं कि नहीं, आई एम नॉट सो श्योर. बट how do you make liquid nitrogen and liquid argon? Think about it. Okay. So we will discuss these kind of things also. Simple application of simple things. Okay. और उसके बाद क्वेश्चन है कि as I told you last time, no, that in fusion reactor you have to achieve 10 to the power 6 degrees Celsius. So how do you do that? एक certain amount के बाद आप temperature बढ़ाओगे कैसे? Liquid nitrogen बनाना है, so you have to go to minus 196 degrees Celsius. How do you go there? Usually in our daily lives, how do we cool things? By putting it close to a cool environment. But how do you achieve something which is the coolest? उसको कूल करने के लिए तो कुछ है नहीं, so you will have to think about something else. One way of doing it is to decrease the pressure so the temperature will decrease. But कितना प्रेशर घटा के टेम्परेचर कितना अचीव कर सकते हो? There is a limit to that also. After that, what do you do? How do you do it? So these are the applications of these simple things which are there. For example, what we study in the structural mechanics, the shear modulus, comes actually from the fluid mechanics. So laminar flow mein, when one layer of liquid is flowing on another layer of liquid, you assume a friction to be there, and that friction defines the viscosity in fluid mechanics. Here it defines the shear modulus. Right. So fine. So we will end this lecture here, and we'll meet on Monday, 9 a.m. and try to solve the problem and download the software. We will discuss the installation procedure also on Monday. All right. See you then. If you have any question, you can ask or you can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.